Please close your eyes. Inhale and exhale slowly and deeply. Relax your body. If you feel any pain or discomfort at any area of your body, bring your awareness to that area and mentally say, I let go. I am not the body. The body is just the vehicle of the soul. I am the soul. I am that I am. Visualize your whole body disintegrate and disappear. All the pain and discomfort in your body disintegrate and disappear. What remains is just brilliant white light. Inhale slowly and deeply. Exhale slowly and deeply. Now bring your awareness higher to your thoughts and your emotions. Just observe each and every thought that comes to your mind and fades away. Mentally say, I am not my thoughts. I am not my emotions. Thoughts and emotions are just products of the soul. I am the soul. I am that I am. Visualize all your thoughts and emotions disintegrate and disappear. All your fears, worries, frustrations, stress disintegrate and disappear. What remains is just brilliant white light. Inhale slowly and deeply. Exhale slowly and deeply. Now bring your awareness higher to your crown chakra located on top of your head. Mentally say to the Supreme Being, Divine Father, Divine Mother, to Grandmaster Chua Kok Sui, Lord Mahaguruji Mailing, and all the great ones, all the holy gurus, holy masters, saints, archangels, holy angels, and spiritual helpers. To all the masters of Theosophy, thank you for all of your priceless blessings, for divine light, divine love, and divine power, divine guidance, help and protection, inner healing and physical healing, good health and happiness, prosperity and abundance, spirituality and illumination. Thank you in full faith. Inhale slowly, inhale all the blessings. Exhale slowly and be aware of your whole body. Inhale slowly. Exhale slowly. Inhale slowly, inhale all the blessings. And exhale slowly. Now please put your two hands in a namaste position in front of your heart. Be aware of the presence of every person in this session and mentally say, Namaste. Thank you for being here. And when you are comfortable, gently open your eyes with a big smile. Namaste. Okay, so this is the third session of the study of the book, The Astral Body. Last week we finished up to the physical life. So today we want to continue with the sleep life. So please allow me to share my screen. Okay. So let's begin. First, we discussed about the reason for sleeping. So based on the book, the real cause of sleep would appear to be that the bodies grow tired of one another. Okay, So in the case of the physical body, not only every muscular exertion, but also every feeling and thought produce certain slight chemical changes. So a healthy body is always trying to counteract these changes, but it never quite succeeds whilst the body is alive. Now, the reason the bodies get tired and our body get tired from feeling and even thinking is not because the astral body gets tired, but because the physical body and the brain gets tired. Sorry, I can't see the chat. Okay, I thought it was a question. Okay, so in the case of the astral body, it very soon becomes tired of the heavy labor of moving the particles of the physical brain and needs a considerable period of separation from it to enable it to gather strength to resume its task. So in its own plane, however, the astral body is practically incapable of fatigue, since it has been known to work for 25 years without showing signs of exhaustion. Okay, so it means the astral body in the physical, in the physical world, whenever we think and whenever we feel, we get tired. But this is not because the astral body or the mental body gets tired. Because in their own world, astral body and mental body doesn't get tired. But the reason we get tired is because of the physical brain, actually. So although excessive and long continued emotion tires a man very quickly in ordinary life, it is not the astral body which becomes fatigued, but the physical organism through which the emotion is expressed or experienced. Okay, so it's not the astral body, but the physical body and the brain. Therefore, the bodies need some time of separation to get charged. So when a man leaves his body in sleep or in death, the pressure of the surrounding astral matter, which really means the force of gravity on the astral plane, immediately forces other astral matter into the astrally empty space. Such a temporary astral counterpart is an exact copy, so far as arrangement is concerned, of the physical body, but nevertheless it has no real connection with it and could never be used as a vehicle. So what does it mean? It means when we sleep and the astral body, it's like the astral body gets separated from the physical body to experience, to have some other experiences in the astral world. The pressure of the surrounding astral matter fill in the place of the physical body, which used to be the place of that astral, counterpart. Therefore, it's very important where we sleep. So if we sleep in a place that is astrally clean, when you wake up, you feel more fresh also. But if we sleep in a place that has lots of negative thoughts and emotions, when you wake up, you may feel still tired or you may feel uncomfortable. Because when that surrounding astral matter fills the physical body will get affected also to some extent. Okay, I think I went so much further. Okay. So when a man goes to sleep, his higher principles in their astral vehicle withdraw from the physical body, the dense body and the etheric body remaining by themselves on the bed, the astral body floating in the air above them. In sleep then, a man is simply using his astral body instead of his physical. It is only the physical body that is asleep, not necessarily the man himself. Okay, so what does it mean? It means when we sleep, this astral body withdraws from the physical body and have experience of their own. Now, whether we remember it or not, it's another story. Okay, but it means the astral body is not sleeping. Only the physical body and the etheric body is basically asleep. Any question, please put in the chat, yeah? Now, this astral body, which is withdrawn from the physical body, is connected with the physical body. That's why in the morning we can come back. But when, at the moment of death, this connection will get cut also. So that's why the astral body cannot come back to the physical body. We will talk about life after death in later chapters. So usually the astral body withdrawn from the physical will retain the form of the physical body, so that the person is readily recognizable to anyone who knows him personally. This is due to the fact that the attraction between the astral and the physical particles continued all through physical life sets up a habit or a momentum in the astral matter, which continues even while it is temporarily withdrawn from the physical, sleeping physical body. Okay, so because this is the shape most of the time in waking consciousness, when we sleep, when the astral body is withdrawn from the physical body, it still follows the shape of the physical body, although it's not necessary. Okay. Now, sometimes it may have happened to you. You see someone at night in your sleep. You know who is this person. Let's say you see someone as your mother. You know this is your mother or this is your father. But physically, they don't look the same. Has this happened to you before? But you know who is this person. Because not necessarily the astral body follows the shape of the physical body. But because of habit, most of the time it happens. Okay, now, if a person has control over the astral body and is conscious, when we are sleeping, actually in the astral world, we can change the shape of the body to any shape we want. We can make ourselves taller, shorter, fat, slim, whatever we want. And in a second, an astral body follows. But by the course of habit, it follows the shape of the physical body. But even if it's not, when you are sleeping and you see someone in your sleep, you somehow recognize who is this person, not necessarily based on the shape, but you just know. Okay, now we will discuss, in the book it discusses what is the difference between the sleep life of a person who is not developed and someone who is average and someone who is developed. So in the case of a very undeveloped man, the book says such as a savage, he may be nearly as much asleep as his physical body because he is capable of very little definite consciousness in his astral body. He is also unable to move away from the immediate neighborhood of the sleeping physical body. And if an attempt were made to draw him away in his astral body, he would probably awake in his physical body in terror. In a quite undeveloped person, therefore, the higher principle, the man himself, are almost as much asleep as the physical body. Okay, so if a person is not developed at all, very, like the book says, undeveloped, the astral body is not developed to be a vehicle on its own yet. It's like it's infant. So the astral body on its own is incapable of really having an experience out of the physical body. And in many cases, it even stays very near to the asleep physical body, in the vicinity of the physical body, which is sleeping. So therefore, the sleep is really like, sleep. The man is the soul, and all the other vehicles is like as much asleep as the physical body, because the astral body is incapable of really experiencing things on its own. Now, in case of a more evolved man, there is a very great difference. The inner form is much more distinct and definite, a closer reproduction of the man's physical appearance. Instead of the surrounding mist, breath, there is a sharply defined ovoid form, preserving its shape unaffected amidst all the varied currents which are always swirling around it on the astral plane. So for the undeveloped man, the shape of the astral body is not yet very definite also. It's like a mist. But in the case of a more evolved man, at least the astral body is having some definite shape of its own. And it's more conscious. So a man of this type is by no means unconscious in his astral body, but is quite actively thinking. Nevertheless, he may be taking very little more notice of his surroundings than the savage. Not because he is incapable of seeing, but because he is so wrapped up in his own thoughts that he does not see, though he could do so if he chose. Whatever may have been the thoughts engaging in his mind during the past day, he usually continues them when he falls asleep. And he is thus surrounded by so dense a wall of his own making that he observes practically nothing of what is going on outside. So this means a person who is a bit more evolved actually has the opportunity to experience the astral world with his astral body or her astral body at night, because the astral body is already to a certain degree conscious and can see. But the problem is, this person, because of thinking so much, still so much affected by his or her own thoughts that cannot really look beyond. So I think all of us have had this kind of dreams. We will talk about dreams later. That something was in your mind, was in, like, let's say something was in our mind 1 day or 2 days before, and then we continue seeing it at night. Sometimes it's chaos because so many thoughts and one dream changed to another dream, but it's basically a continuance of our own thoughts happening in the dream state. But if we can go beyond that, then we can also experience the astral world. So in the case of a still more developed man, when the physical body goes to sleep, the astral body slips out of it, and the man is then in full consciousness. The astral body is clearly outlined and definitely organized, bearing the likeness of the man, and the man is able to use it as a vehicle far more convenient than the physical body. The receptivity of the astral body has increased until it is instantly responsive to all the vibrations of its plane, the fine as well as the coarser. But in the astral body of a very highly developed person, there would of course be practically no matter left capable of responding to coarse vibrations. Such a man is wide awake, is working far more actively, more accurately, and with greater power of comprehension than when he was confined in the denser physical vehicle. In addition, he can move about freely and with immense rapidity to any distance without causing the least disturbance to the sleeping physical body. So this means for a person who is even more developed, the astral body is in full consciousness. The astral body's shape is clearly outlined and defined. So when this person sleeps, the astral body is capable of responding to the astral vibrations, the vibrations of the astral plane, both refined and coarse. But because this person doesn't have much of the vibration of the coarse, matter, so this person may mostly experience the finer, vibrations. Now, if we reach that state, a person who is very developed can actually do a lot of work, learn or be an instrument of service much more than he can be in the physical body, because the astral body has a lot of freedom that the physical body doesn't have. Like the astral body can move from one place to another place very easily, doesn't need visa or passport, can attend any class that these developers and want, or can help many people who need help in the astral world. So there are so many limitations of the physical body which doesn't appear in the astral body, in the astral plane. Any questions so far? Okay, Deepa said, does it mean they don't have dreams for underdeveloped man? How do we go beyond seeing our chaos in... Okay, we will talk about dreams just after this. We have several types of dreams, so let's reach to that point and then we discuss one by one. Because the dream can be as simple as a stimulus in the brain, which is translated in a picture, or it can be etheric changes that get translated into pictures. It can be astral dreams. It can be even more than that. Okay, so we will talk about dreams shortly. So in a highly evolved man, the astral body being thoroughly organized and vitalized becomes as much the vehicle of consciousness on the astral plane as the physical body is on the physical plane. So you see how much consciousness we have in the physical body, and we are awake and we can experience everything physically. For a person who is highly evolved, the astral body becomes similar in the astral world. So it means the person can perform completely and fully in the astral plane using the astral body. So whilst in the physical body, most of the efficiency of an emotion is exhausted in transmission to the physical plane, but in the astral world, the whole of the force is available in its own world. Hence, it is possible in the astral world to feel far more intense affection or devotion than is possible in the physical world. Similarly, an intensity of suffering is possible in the astral world, which is unimaginable in ordinary physical life. Because astral body is the body of emotions. Astral world is the world of emotions. Okay, so when we are in the astral world, every emotion can be experienced much more intense. So if a person is having affection or devotion in the astral plane, during the sleep life, this can be experienced much more intense because there is no limitation of the physical body or physical vehicle. In the same way, even the suffering can be experienced much more intense. So an advantage of this state of affairs is that in the astral world, all pain and suffering are voluntary and absolutely under control. Hence, life there is much easier. Life there is much easier for the man who understands. The man has only to exert his will when the passion straight away disappears. Okay, so this means that later we discuss this further when we talk about life after death. When we are in the astral plane, whatever suffering or pleasure we have is under our control. Okay, so if our will is strong, even if a negative emotion is being experienced, by the exert of the will, we can make it disappear. But again, it says, for the man who understands. So if a person understands how to work with thoughts and emotions and how to gain control and how to use the will to control the emotions, then the astral life will be very interesting and like absolutely under control. So traveling in the astral body is not instantaneous, but it is so swift that space and time may be said to be practically conquered. For although a man is passing through space, it is passed through so rapidly that its power to divide is nearly non-existent. In 2 or 3 minutes, a man might move round the world. Has anyone here previously experienced out-of-body and travel, like astral traveling? Yes. Would you mind sharing? I remember, like previously, I used to practice a bit to do this. And one time, I remember.
Crazy.
Sorry? Yes, maybe after I share this, you can share. So that this becomes a bit clear. Because I remember one time that I was like in the astral body, and then I was like, I cannot remember exactly what was it, but I wanted to turn on the light, and the moment I thought about the light, I was beside the light. So it's like the moment you will to be somewhere, you can go there very fast. Again, this is not instantaneous, but very fast. But in the physical life, you have to actually physically move there. You know, there is a concept of space. But in the astral world, because it happens fast, then as though
Yeah, she's back.
sorry, I think my internet got disconnected. Okay, so let's continue. So in the astral world, as we discussed, the movement is so fast as though the concept of space and time is conquered, but it says it's not instantaneous. Okay, so if anybody has experiences and want to share, please go ahead.
So
Otherwise, we will continue. Yes.
So this happened some years back. I was reading about life after death, rearrangement of astral matter, that kind of thing. And the subject is so heavy that I fell asleep on my bed while reading the book. And in my mind, I saw my myself leave the body, kind of like the starting invocation that you do. Visualize your body dissolving. I was floating, floating, floating high up, and I'm like, oh, this is so painless. This is so good. Everything is so nice. I don't need to go back. No need to go back to work, etc., etc. And I'm seeing all these beautiful colors and the higher beings, and someone who looked like Master says, return to your body now. And I'm like, no, Master, it's very nice, also good, so fine. And he became very firm and said, return to your body now. He clapped. Next thing I know, I'm back in my body, and I returned so hard, so powerfully, I fell off the bed. Okay, and I'm like, I looked at the photo. Yes, Master, I will not do that again.
Very interesting. Thank you for sharing. Okay, so the difficulty with the ordinary person is not that the astral body cannot act, but that for thousands of years, that body has been accustomed to being set in motion only by impressions received through the physical vehicle, so that men do not realize that the astral body can work on its own plane and on its own account, and that the will can act upon it directly. Okay, so means for an ordinary person who has not trained in the physical or, in the spiritual systems or world, the reason why they cannot really act in the astral body, one of the reason is they don't know that they can do it. They don't know that the astral body can actually be used as a vehicle of its own, and it can be controlled directly by the will, because they're so accustomed that the astral body is controlled by the physical body. It means it's controlled by the impressions received through the physical vehicle. Okay, so that's why education is very important to make us understand that astral body is a body of its own. Okay, so basically, let's say a person who joins pranic healing the first thing they understand is that we are not only this physical body, we also have an energy body. Okay, so this brings the consciousness a bit away from the physical body only, because before that we may only think there is just physical life. And then when we go to psychotherapy, then we realize that we also have thoughts and emotions. So how these thoughts and emotions get created, where these are lodged. And then we start thinking about the astral body and the mental body. In achieving oneness, all these bodies will get explained properly. And then in our Hatha Yoga, we get access to advanced meditations to actually experience that we are not the physical body, we are not the astral body, we are not the mental body, we are the soul. And all of this is priceless, because so many things we can do when we are asleep, and so many things, so many sufferings we can prevent if we know what happens to us after we die. So a man who falls asleep with the definite intention in his mind of doing a certain piece of work will surely go and attempt to carry out his intention as soon as he is freed from his physical body in sleep. But when the work is completed, it is likely that the fog of his own self-centered thoughts will close around him once more, unless he has accustomed himself to initiate fresh lines of action when functioning apart from the physical brain. Now, what does it mean? It means even for a person who is not yet capable of acting with their astral body alone, just having a definite intention in thought before we sleep will help us to do a certain work at night, okay, when we are sleeping. Whether we remember it or not, again, it's another thing, which we will discuss shortly. But at least it happens. The problem is, after we do that, then because we still, the ordinary person still don't know how to perform in his astral body or her astral body itself, and doesn't know that this astral body can be used as a separate vehicle, and the will can actually work on the astral body directly, doesn't need to go through the physical brain, then it will get, it will get around him, there will be lots of thoughts of his own, and therefore he cannot continue using his astral body to experience the astral world. But if after this thought, this definite intention before we sleep, once it's done, if we are able to create new thoughts and will the astral body to do other things, then we can use the astral body fully. Do you understand? I try to explain. So it means until then, until we become, until we are able to fully use the astral body as a vehicle on its own, still having a definite intention before we go to sleep helps, because at least we can do something. We may not be able to continue doing things with the astral body, but at least we can accomplish one task. For example, before you go to sleep, one night, your thought may be, I want to be an instrument of service. So let's say whoever is in pain, or whoever needs healing, whoever needs guidance, or I don't know, certain service in your mind, you can say, tonight I want to be used as an instrument of service. And then you can even say a short invocation and asking for this. With this thought of being an instrument of service, we sleep. Then we can actually be an instrument of service in our astral body. Okay, now another night, you may say, okay, tonight I want to learn. I recommend you start with service first, so that we have good karma to learn new things. Okay, because even learning needs good karma, nothing is free. So The next night, you can say, okay, you can say a short prayer and then make an intention that tonight I want to learn. So you may go to a classroom with one spiritual teacher teaching, and you may learn new things. Again, in the morning, you may not remember them immediately, or you may. But sometimes after, when you are dealing with a certain situation, suddenly you may recall, oh, I knew this, or I saw this, or I heard this somewhere. And then that knowledge can be useful. How to master the use of the astral body while conscious in the physical body. So far it's by accident or not really in full control. Yes, because the astral body is not yet developed enough. You know how we develop our physical body? Initially, when you are a baby, you cannot use your physical body fully also. But gradually, we build the physical body by using it, by working on it. So, by also certain practices, even meditations, you know, arhatic meditations, purifications, even other practices. There are so many practices also that helps to use the astral body, okay, or come out of the astral body. So there are so many practices, but needs to be done, you know, properly. So there are so many practices that help us to gain control over the astral body. But most important, and the most important is to purify it, okay, and to develop it through meditation, because meditation also helps to align the bodies together, okay. It also helps us to remember, because it aligns the bodies together. It helps us to remember things when you experience them in the astral world. For me, even based on experience, even if you don't do anything specifically, you know, like a certain specific practice to gain control over the astral body, just doing the arhatic practices, I notice gradually I'm getting more and more control over the astral body. Even the dreams are becoming different. Okay, so it's like you are becoming more conscious. But we will discuss more about this in the book. So everyone should determine each night to do something useful on the astral plane, to comfort someone in trouble, to use the will to pour strength into a friend or is weak or ill, to calm someone who is excited or hysterical, or to perform some similar service. So this is what we just discussed. So until the astral body becomes capable of being used as a separate vehicle of consciousness at night, at least by having a definite intention before we sleep of being service or of learning, we can actually make use of our sleep life. Okay, answering your question, Sundar. There are 4 ways in which a man may be awakened to self-conscious activity in his astral body. Number 1, by the ordinary course of evolution, which though slow is sure. Number 2, by the man himself, having learned the fact of the case, making the requisite steady and persistent effort to clear away the mist from within and gradually overcome the inertia to which he is accustomed. It is desirable that the man should first have developed common sense and moral qualities. This for 2 reasons. First, lest he may misuse such powers as he may acquire. Second, he may be overwhelmed by fear in the presence of forces which can neither understand nor control. Okay, I remember many years back, I was doing some practices to astral travel and come out of the astral body. The moment that phenomena was about to start, I was filled with so much fear that I couldn't let it happen, because you never know what's going to be outside. Okay, and you may see so many things that we cannot control. So, number 2 says, it's possible through spiritual practice, but First of all, we need to do enough purification, character building. So the qualities that we use, we acquire, we don't misuse. Or sometimes the things you observe, the things you see, so we don't misuse that power. And second, we don't get overwhelmed by fear, because you may see so many things in the inner world. Based on my experience, regular practice of arhatic yoga, meditations properly can gradually helps to accelerate, can help to accelerate that. I have done some other practices before that also, but I don't recommend before I become a pranic healer. Number 3, by some accident or by unlawful use of magical ceremonies, he may so rend the veil that it can never wholly be closed again. Okay, I remember many years back, before I start my pranic healing journey, I had this friend, and the friend went to so many classes for clairvoyance. And then something happened to his forehead that he could see everything and could not stop seeing it. That time we didn't know actually what happened. But later, after I came to pranic healing and psychotherapy, then we realized that the practices actually punctured the web. That's why he could not control what he's seeing and what he's experiencing. And then he had to go through healing in order to fix that. So Grandmaster's techniques are very protected and tested and safe, yet very powerful. So nowadays I only stick to that. 4, a friend may act from without, open the closed shell surrounding the man, and gradually arouse the man to higher possibilities. This, however, would never be done unless the friend were quite sure that the man to be awakened possessed the courage, devotion, and other qualities necessary for useful work. This means a friend or a spiritual guru, a spiritual teacher, can also help to awaken the man the man or woman, means human, into the astral body. But of course, they don't just do it. First, they make sure the person has enough courage, devotion, and other, good qualities, means the character is quite purified before they do this. Okay, so now we discussed about sleep life, but we didn't discuss about the memory. Okay, so here it says the astral memory includes the physical, though of course the physical memory by no means always includes the memory of the astral experiences. Sometimes we may have many experiences at night, but we cannot remember them in the morning. Okay, now if you have done arhatic yoga, one of the meditations that can help is Kundalini meditation, because it helps to activate the brain cells, upgrade the brain cells, so that they are more responsive to the impressions or to the impressions of the soul or whatever we experience in the inner world. Grandmaster says it's like when we are upgrading the software, the hardware should be also compatible with that. So Kundalini meditation is like upgrading the hardware. Now in the book, the phenomenon of sleepwalking is also explained. Now why sleepwalking happens? What is the reason behind it? There may be many different reasons. Number 1, the ego may be able to act more directly upon the physical body during the absence of the mental and astral vehicles. In cases of this nature, a man might be able, for example, to write poetry, paint pictures, etc., which would be far beyond his ordinary powers when awake. Ego means higher soul, we said. So when during the sleep, the ego may be able to act directly on the physical body, okay, when the astral and mental bodies are absent. Therefore, this person may may become awake, not really awake, but I mean something like sleepwalking, and then they may write a poetry, they may paint something, they may do something extraordinary, and that is because of the higher soul acting upon the physical body directly. Number two, the physical body may be working automatically and by force of habit, uncontrolled by the man himself. You may have heard about the stories that sometimes, let's say some of the workers, they wake up at night, not really wake up, but during the sleep, they perform some house activities, for example. Or some people who are accustomed or used to a certain activity by habit, at night they may continue doing that. And this is like the physical body is doing it automatically. Because we all know that physical body has consciousness of its own. So it's possible that because of habit, physical body does something at night. It's like by its own consciousness, following a certain habit. Number three, an outside entity may seize the body of a sleeping man and use it for his own ends. This would be most likely to happen with a person who was mediumistic, whose bodies are more loosely joined together than usual and therefore more readily separable. Okay, so a medium, usually when a medium is trying to communicate with another being, consciously they allow another entity to use their body. Okay, so because of this, which I read in some other books, that is not really advisable because it affects the etheric body and the whole system. So during the sleep, it's possible that an outside entity use the physical body of the person who is sleeping. And this usually may happen with people who are mediums because the bodies are more loosely joined together. It's not like so connected and therefore more readily separable, more easily to be used separately, But in other people, still the astral body and other bodies have more control over the physical body. Number four, a directly opposite condition may also produce a similar result. When the principle or bodies fit more tightly than usual, the man, instead of visiting a distant place in his astral body only, would take his physical body along as well, because he is not wholly disassociated from it. So number three happens when the bodies are more disconnected, when the bodies are loosely joined or more disconnected from one another, so another entity can use the physical body and do something that the entity wants. Number four is the opposite. Sometimes the bodies are more tightly fit than usual. So sometimes when a person is having some experiences in the astral body, physical body follows. Like for example, you are dreaming of, I don't know, someone is coming to your house and you need to go and open the door. So you may actually walk with your physical body and open the door, although it's only in your dream. Number four can happen because of that. Any questions so far? Has anybody experienced sleepwalking before? Okay, no questions. So let's discuss about dreams. So this is what we discussed earlier also. Consciousness and activity in the astral body are one thing. The memory in the brain of that astral consciousness and activity is a different thing. So it means we may have some experience during the sleep life in the astral body, but we may remember nothing about it in the morning. Okay, so these are two different things, whether you remember it or not. Someone just messaged privately that in a trip, during night, he sleepwalked his way to breakfast and then woke up and realized it's not yet time for breakfast. Were you hungry? Yes, but it can happen, yes. So next, so we said what we experience in the astral world and the memory of it is two different things. The experience or the absence of physical memory in no way affects the consciousness on the astral plane, nor the ability to function in the astral plane with perfect ease and freedom. Okay, this is like what we discussed, the hardware and the software. Software may be like updated software, but the hardware is not compatible. It doesn't mean that the software is not working. It just means the hardware is not capable of receiving the impressions. So in that case, we need to upgrade the hardware, which can be done with the meditation and Kundalini in Arhati Yoga. So the only way in which memory of the astral life can be brought through into the physical brain is by sufficient development of the astral body and by an awakening of the etheric chakras, one function of which is to bring forces from the astral to the etheric. In addition, there must be active functioning of the pituitary body, which focuses the astral vibrations. Okay, so it means the astral body should be developed, chakras should be developed, pituitary body should be developed also so that it can receive the impressions. Few people when in the astral body care whether the physical brain remembers or not. And 9 out of 10 much dislike returning to the body. This is like the experience that Arka was sharing. He had very good experience and didn't want to come back to the physical body. In coming back to the physical body from the astral world, there is a feeling of great constraint, as though one were being enveloped in a thick, heavy cloak. The joy of life on the astral plane is so great that physical life in comparison with it seems no life at all. Furthermore, in the astral body, we don't feel pain also. I remember one time I had pain in my headache, and then I had some meditation experience and the consciousness went outside the physical body and I was feeling no pain at all. Very blissful, very nice feeling. The moment meditation ends, my consciousness dropped back to the physical body and I started to feel the pain again. And I was feeling it was so nice being outside the physical body because there was no pain. So this is one of the benefits, but another one is, the limit. You feel no limit. When you are in a physical body, it's like you're enveloped in a thick, heavy cloak, and you don't have that much of freedom to move or do things. So eventually, in the case of highly developed and advanced persons, the etheric bridge between the astral and the physical world is constructed. And then there is perfect continuity of consciousness between the astral and the physical lives. For such people, life ceases to be composed of days of remembrance and nights of oblivion, and becomes instead a continuous whole year after year of unbroken consciousness. This is what we were just discussing before, that meditation helps to align the bodies together and construct this bridge that when we are sleeping, the consciousness continues. It's not like we have consciousness when we are awake and no consciousness, or we don't remember anything when we sleep, but it becomes a continuous, unbroken consciousness. Once a dream is started, its course cannot usually be changed, but the dream life can be controlled indirectly to a considerable extent. It is especially important that the last thoughts on sinking to sleep should be a noble and elevating one, as this strikes the keynote which largely determines the nature of the dreams which follow. An evil or impure thought attracts evil and impure influences and creatures, which react on the mind and astral body and tend to awaken low and earthly desires. So one of the recommendations which I heard from the seniors, before you go to sleep, actually we can do soul affirmation and then we sleep. Okay, another thing is in one of the Golden Lotus Sutras, Grandmaster says you do meditation at night and in the morning to strengthen your downward roots, and you do meditation at night to strengthen your upward roots or something like that. So when we do meditation at night, or when even you have one pure thought, or maybe just practice the soul affirmation before you sleep. So there is no thoughts. You are affirming that I'm not this body, I'm not this emotions, I'm not the thoughts. You are detaching from all your thoughts and emotions. And then we are affirming that we are the soul. We are creating a noble thought, and then we sleep. So this will make sure that the dreams we will have afterwards are pure. But if we have some not so good thoughts before we sleep, usually it may end up attracting impure influences and creatures, and therefore not having a good sleep and awaken low and earthy desires. So the factors concerned in the production of dreams are, number one, okay, thank you, Arka. He's just posted the actual quote. At night, do meditation to strengthen the upper rooting. In the morning, do meditation to strengthen the lower rooting from the Beyond the Mind Golden Lotus Sutras. Thank you. So the factors concerned in the production of dreams are, number one, the lower physical brain with its infantile semi-consciousness and its habit of expressing every stimulus in pictorial form. Number two, the etheric part of the brain, through which sweeps a ceaseless procession of disconnected pictures. Number three, the astral body palpitating with the wild surging of desire and emotion. And number four, the ego, which means the higher soul, who may be in any state of consciousness from almost complete insensibility to perfect command of his faculties. Okay, so these are the factors that we need to discuss in relation to the production of dreams. Now, based on this, we have different types of dreams, which we will discuss shortly. So when a man goes to sleep, his ego withdraws further within himself and leaves his various bodies more free than usual to go their own way. These separate bodies are, one, much more susceptible of impressions from without than at other times, and two, have a very rudimentary consciousness of their own. Consequently, there is ample reason for the production of dreams as well as for confused recollections in the physical brain of the experiences of the other bodies during sleep. Okay? I think that was clear. So based on what we discussed earlier, four things we need to discuss. One, the physical brain, two, the etheric brain, three, the astral body, and number four, the higher soul. We have different types of dreams. Number one is called physical brain dreams. Okay, now this type of dreams are categorized differently in different books. Okay, I saw in Leadbeater book there is a bit of difference in the category. But here we have these 4 categories. Number 1, physical brain dreams. When in sleep, the ego, for the time, resigns control of the brain. The physical body still has a certain dim consciousness of its own, and in addition, there is also the aggregate consciousness of the individual cells of the physical body. And consequently, purely physical charges are capable of affecting the brain to a very much greater extent. Examples of such physical changes are irregularity in the circulation of the blood, indigestion, heat and cold, etc. Consequently, all stimuli, whether from within or from without, are immediately translated into perceptual images. Okay, so this means sometimes what dream we are experiencing is simply physical brain dreams. Means any changes in the physical body, any stimuli from outside or inside gets translated into pictures, and we see them as dreams. Now, I remember I heard from someone that he had a lot of plums, something like that. So I think his pressure dropped. So when he was sleeping, he was having a very, strange nightmare, as though like his whole body was moving and then he was dying, something like that. Very strange dream, but all of it was because of what he ate, which caused the blood pressure to drop a bit, something like that. So any stimuli from outside, heat, cold, indigestion, circulation of blood, palpitation, or whatever, can get translated as a certain picture. So it translates into a certain kind of dream. Number 2 is called etheric brain dreams. The etheric brain is even more sensitive during the sleep of the physical body than it is during ordinary waking consciousness to influences from outside. The moment the body is left idle, the stream of inconsequent chaos begins to pour through it. In the vast majority of people, the thoughts which flow through their brains are in reality not their own thoughts at all, but fragments cast off by other people. A point to notice is that since the present state of the world's evolution, there are likely to be more evil thoughts than good ones floating around. A man with an uncontrolled brain is open to all sorts of temptation, which mind and brain control might have spared him. So second one is etheric brain dreams. Here, any thought, any influence from outside get picked up by the etheric brain and then translated into pictures, okay, translated into dreams. And based on the book, many of these thoughts are not even ours. But this is the reason why also, if we have so many thoughts, let's say your mind is so focused in a certain thought, if you sleep, you may see dreams similar to that. So it's like continuing that thought in your dream. This is because of the thoughts that are floating in the aura. I remember when I was a kid, one time we were playing video games for very long hours with my cousins, and when I slept at night, I was in the game. I was one of the, one of these animals, or one of these characters inside the game. And it was so frustrating because I couldn't come out. So this can be because of lots of thoughts experienced in the past few days connected with that game made me again see dreams connected with the game, because so many thoughts about that game was floating in my aura when I was sleeping. Number 3 is astral dreams. These are simply recollection in the physical brain of the life and activities of the astral body during the sleep of the physical body. The astral body is at all times susceptible to the influences of passing thought currents, and when the mind is not actively controlling it, it is perpetually receiving these stimuli from without and eagerly responding to them. During the day, the desire of the astral body would be under the control of the will. But when the astral body was liberated in sleep, it escaped to some extent from the domination of the ego and responding probably to outside astral influence. Its old habit reasserted itself. Consequently, a man who has, for example, entirely destroyed a physical desire which he may previously have possessed for alcohol, in the way, so let me explain, I think it's easier. This means sometimes there are certain desires that we already overcome in physical waking life because of the control of the higher soul, because of the control of the will. But when we sleep, one type of these astral dreams is because the higher soul don't have more control or enough control over the astral body anymore, all these desires may still be there, and therefore we may dream of having alcohol, for example. So although we try to overcome this addiction in waking consciousness, at night we may find ourselves enjoying that addiction. Now the book says you don't need to worry about that. It doesn't mean that you will end up being an addict again. It just means that there are still some seeds that needs to be disintegrated. Now, the book also says sometimes you may not be addict in this life, but you may still have some dreams of that sort. It may also happen that a man may have been a drunkard in a past life and still possesses in his astral body some matter drawn thereinto by the vibrations caused in the permanent atom, by the drunkardness. Although this matter is not vivified in this life, yet in dreams, because the control of the ego is weak. So such dreams, once understood, need not cause distress. Nevertheless, they should be regarded as a warning that there is still present the possibility of the drink craving being reawakened. Means the seed is still there. Now, some of these astral dreams are also when you meet some people actually in the astral world. You may talk to them, you may learn from them, you may help them, but you have a certain specific experience in the astral world, and then you remember it because it happened. So these are also part of the astral dreams. So it means whatever you experienced during the astral, during sleeping in the astral plane, you remember them as a dream. These are called astral dreams. But the physical brain dream and etheric brain dream, they didn't actually happen. It was just a thought from ourselves or from outside that got translated into certain pictures. Or the physical ones could be only indigestion or some physical stimuli that translated into pictures. But the astral dreams actually happen in the astral world, and we experience them and we remember them in the morning. Ego dreams. Now, there are some other dreams that you see certain dream at night, and after some time, they happen. You know, they may be a warning, or they may be a news about future, and they actually happen in the future. So these are called ego dreams. Ego, again, I say it means higher soul in Theosophy language. So the principal characteristics of the consciousness and experiences of the ego, whether or not they be remembered in the brain, are as follows. So the ego dreams have certain characteristics. So from those characteristics, you may realize that the dream that you had is an ego dream. Number one, the ego's measure of time and space are so entirely different from that which he uses in waking life that it is almost as though neither time nor space existed for him. Many instances are known where in a few moments of time, as we measure it, the ego may have experiences which appear to last for many years, event after event happening in full detail. Number two, the ego possesses the faculty or the habit of instantaneous dramatization. Okay, means everything gets dramatized. Thus, a physical sound or a touch may reach the ego not through the use of nerve mechanism, but directly, a fraction of a second before even it reaches the physical brain. And that fraction of a second is sufficient for the ego to construct a kind of drama or series of scenes leading up to a culminating in the event which awakens the physical body. Okay, so means whatever experienced, it becomes dramatized. Number three, the ego possesses also to some extent the faculty of prevision, being sometimes able to see in advance events which are going to happen, or rather which may happen unless steps are taken to prevent them, and to impress the same on the physical brain. Many instances are recorded of such prophetic or warning dreams. I'm sure it has happened to all of you. Sometimes you see a certain dream, and then after a day, a week, or sometime it happens. Like I remember at some point, my dreams were so crazy that I could see, like, let's say we have a class in the weekend and this is like Friday or Thursday, I could see how many people are attending the class. And then exactly those many people were attending the class. It was very interesting. Or I could, oh, this one is very interesting. Let me discuss number four and then I will share this one. Number four, the ego, when out of the body during sleep, appears to think in symbols. An idea which down here would require many words to be expressed is perfectly conveyed to him by a single symbolical image. If such a symbolic thought is impressed upon the brain and remembered in waking consciousness, the mind may itself translate it into words. Like, I just shared that at some point, especially, I used to see lots of these dreams. And based on experience, I noticed that dreams which I see in a specific place usually are the ones that happen. And this place is my grandmother's house. So whichever dream I saw in my grandmother's house, in my mind, it's like this is the ego dream and it's going to happen. And one of the very interesting ones was, at that time I was only teaching basic pranic healing. And then I really wanted to do advanced, but I just had a dream, I was trying to apply for it. I was trying to get the fill up the required documents and gather everything and apply for the advanced instructorship. But it was taking long, and I knew that it may take some more time or something like that. Then when I slept, I saw in that grandmother's house that we are having a basic class. We were having a basic class actually over the weekend. And there are this many people are attending, which actually also happened. And then I'm teaching from this basic manual. And when I'm teaching, I look at the students, and suddenly it's like a wind comes and the pages, move from the from the page that I was reading. And then when I look at the manual trying to find the page I was, it becomes an advanced manual. And I was like, what? I'm teaching basic. Why? It's like, it was getting a bit confusing and difficult because I was trying to read from the book. The moment I look at the students, pages change, it becomes advanced. And then I try to again go back and find the page. and then again start reading. The moment I look at the students, change again becomes advanced. So I woke up in the morning and I said, that was a strange dream. What was it about? No, I was a bit afraid that maybe the class will not go well or something, you know. Sometimes your interpretation may be wrong, but the dream you saw is saying what's going to happen. Anyway, we had the class. The following week was advanced, and then I got news that I can already attend the what you call apprenticeship for advanced. And I was like, wow, maybe that was the meaning. Means the class which I will do for the basic becomes an opportunity to take advanced, or it was something like a news that this is going to happen soon. So the ego dreams, many of them are in symbols. So sometimes you see a certain symbol, and then again, sometimes our interpretation is wrong, but the ego dreams are already saying something about what is going to happen in the future. Sometimes they're warning also. You may see some problem happening to someone or yourself or your relatives, and then you may take some steps to help them actually. I heard from one of the senior instructors in India that one time she saw in her dream a plane crashed. So when she woke up in the morning, she started blessing this plane, visualizing that the plane will land properly and everything goes smoothly. She continued doing that when she woke up. And it seems 1 or 2 days later, I cannot recall, there was a news in the newspaper that this plane was about to crash, but it landed properly. So maybe what she did helped. I don't say it completely helped the situation, but maybe that helped to also make that landing smoother, something like that. Okay? Any questions so far? So whichever dream we experience at night, first we need to think what kind of dream this can be. Sometimes you may notice that the dream is connected to a certain thought that you were thinking in 1 or 2 days or continuously for a week or something. So it's possible that that dream is connected with the thoughts. Another one is just a physical brain dream. Another one is the astral. So sometimes you have certain dreams, they're actually happening. I think it happened once or twice to me that I saw someone in a dream at night, and then when I shared with them, they had the same dream. They saw me also in the dream. So it's possible that this can be an astral dream, astral body dream. And the ego dreams, as we discussed, these 4 are usually the characteristics. But number 1, sometimes the ego dreams, you are only sleeping for 8 hours, but what you are experiencing is years. Number 2, whatever you are experiencing, it gets dramatized. Number 3, there may be some warning about future or some news about future. And number 4, they may be more symbolic in nature. Okay, next, continuity of consciousness. This is next chapter. We already finished the chapter about dreams. As we have seen, for a man to pass in unbroken consciousness from one vehicle to another, for example, from the physical to the astral or vice versa, it is a prerequisite that the links between the bodies should be developed. When a man has rendered himself fit to be helped in vivifying the links, such assistance will inevitably come to him as a matter of course from those who are ever seeking opportunities to aid the unselfish aspirants. Okay, so means for us to have that continuance of consciousness, this link between the physical body and the astral body should be developed. And if we are already to a certain degree ready for that, there are so many higher beings and spiritual helpers that are seeking for that opportunity to see an unselfish aspirant who is ready for this, and then they will help this person to build the bridge. Then one day the man will find himself slipping out of the physical body while he is wide awake, and without any break in consciousness he discovers himself to be free. So means for us to have that continuance of consciousness between physical life and sleep life, we need to make ourselves ready. We need to continue our spiritual practices properly, diligently, regularly. Because if you are ready, don't worry, there will be some spiritual assistant who will help us to build this bridge easier, and then we can have that continuous consciousness. A man who has thus acquired complete mastery over the physical body may of course leave the physical body not only during sleep, but at any time he chooses, and go to a distant place wherever the person wants. Mediums or sensitives project their astral bodies unconsciously when they go into trance. But usually on coming out of trance, there is no brain memory of the experience acquired. Trained students are able to project the astral body consciously and to travel to great distances from the physical body, bringing back with them full and detailed memory of the impressions they have gained. Okay, so means if we actually develop the astral body, we can use it as an independent vehicle, not only during the sleep life, but also in waking consciousness. We can come out with the astral body. This is called astral projection. And then we experience the inner world. We can go to different places. We can go to even different libraries. We can study, we can learn, we can help, and then come back to the physical body with the full memory, retaining the memory. The astral body thus projected may be seen by persons who are sensitive or who may chance to be temporary in an abnormal nervous condition. There are on record many cases of such astral visitations by a dying person near the time of death. A man may, if he knows how to set about it, slightly densify his astral body by drawing into it from the surrounding atmosphere particles of physical matter, and thus materialize sufficiently to become physically visible. This is the explanation of many cases of apparitions where a person physically absent has been seen by friends with their ordinary physical sight. Okay, so this means when we are doing astral projection with the astral body, we are going somewhere else to experience. Some people are quite sensitive or clairvoyant, they can actually see that astral body of the person. Okay, now if the person is more developed, they can even materialize sufficiently physically for people with normal sight, physical sight, to also see them. Okay, the continuity of consciousness, we discussed that if the bridge between the physical body and the astral body is developed, then the continuity of consciousness can happen, whether you are sleeping or whether you are awake. And then in the previous slide, we said for people who are developed, when we do astral projection, we go to somewhere else and experience things, we can actually bring back the memory of what was experienced. Okay, so here it's talking about other people who can see this person traveling with the astral body. If they're sensitive or clairvoyant, they can see, or sometimes if the person has the ability to take from the surrounding atmosphere particles of physical matter and materialize sufficiently so that even people with a physical sight can see them. Okay, any question? We finished up to, we finished the sleep life. Now the death and the desire, the after death experience is a few chapters. So my suggestion is we start this next week so we can continue and finish the whole thing next week. Otherwise, half of it will be this week and half of it will be next week. What do you think? Okay. So any question about what we discussed, please let us know. So to sum up, what we can do for now is before we sleep, we can think about a good thought. First, we can do the I am affirmation. If you have time, you can actually do a meditation also. And then if you don't have time, at least I am affirmation. And then have one pure thought or intention in your mind. The intention can be to be an instrument of service, to help someone in need, to heal someone, to comfort someone, so you can be an element of service for other people. I remember at some point when I was doing a lot of organizing work for the classes, I even had this intention that, Lord God, make me an instrument to attract people into Master Choa Swiss teachings and Master Choa Swiss system. So, and at one time, I remember one person said that he has seen me before, but I was like, no, we never met. But it seems at night, my astral body went to him, and therefore he remembered seeing me. He remembered seeing me in the temple, but I never went to that temple physically. Maybe that was one of the, one of the things I did in the dream. I can't remember that. I can't remember that dream myself, but he could remember seeing me in the temple. Okay, so lot of things we can do at night. We can learn also. Let's say you want to learn more about spiritual systems, about theosophy, about from Grandmaster, from the spiritual teachers. We can also have an intention for that, to go to a certain class or something and learn. And I remember having this dream of going to libraries, and there were like different halls with very big pillars, and then I was reading books and discussing with people. And some of this I could remember in the morning. I even remember in ashram, that time I was reading this solar system book. I just finished the solar system book or something. Or no, I didn't, I never started it yet. So I remember in ashram, I slept, then I saw how all these planets have been created, like how they are placed in the solar system. And I could actually see in the dream that this one is physical, this one is not really physical, it's like astral, this one is not, is like mental. And I could see all of that in the dream. And then when I woke up, I shared it with someone. This is many years back, and that person told me, oh, this is explained in the solar system book. And I'm like, wow, interesting. Then I went and read the book. So all of this can happen if we create a very good intention or very pure intention at night. And I suggest we start with service, because even for learning we need good karma, for evolving we need good karma. So it's best we become an element of service, help other people, and then the following night we can learn. Then again, the following night we can serve, and the night after we can learn. So in this way, the sleep life will not be just 8 hours of not doing anything and it's like completely useless, but it can be, you know, a time that we can learn, we can serve, we can do much more things. Okay. I hope this session was useful for you and I hope you enjoyed it. Sorry, my voice today was a bit my throat was a bit strained from last time, so a bit hard for me to talk. So I hope you all enjoyed the session and have a very good weekend. Thank you so much. Adnan,
Thank you.
namaste.
Namaste. Thank you, guys.